All right, hello, welcome back to another pop culture. I'm Brian.
I'm Jonathan.
We finally got that part down.
Yeah. How long has it been?
This is episode. What? Oh, shoot! What episode is this?
I don't remember.
5, 6.
Well, I mean, I remember what we did last time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'll do it. I'll post it in
Yeah,
later.
we'll put this in post. This is episode 4. This is episode 5. This is episode 6. This is episode 7. One of those is right.
One of them.
Yep. All right, but yeah, today we are sipping back some Appalachian Root Beer from the Appalachian Brewing Company. I've got my cups. Twist off.
I mean, these are chilled. We can drink it straight in the bottle.
That's true.
Maybe save the cups for later.
Actually, yeah, this is you want to get that nice carbonation in there. Yeah, this one I found this one about a year or so ago, maybe a little.
Wait, did
less.
you say the full name? I think you just said Appalachian.
Oh yeah, this is the Appalachian Brewing Co.'s craft brewed Appalachian Root Beer. It's brewed with a delightful blend of honey, according to the front label, which is why there's a slight honeycomb pattern behind the graphic as well. You can notice it right on the label.
Yes,
there.
I see.
Yeah. Pretty decent packaging. Bottle itself is nothing unusual, just standard bottle with the neck and body stickers on it. Bottle cap is printed with the logo. Does not say the name of the soda though, which is smart because they also have a ginger beer, which is pretty good too.
Ah.
It's very sharp. I can barely drink it, but it's very nice. But anyway, let's get this open.
Nice twist off for you.
There we go. Yeah, first sip's bringing it on back. This is I was telling you earlier. This is probably my top 5 easy to find root beers. Easy to find is subjective. I can get it at my local grocery store across the street. It's also one of 2 root beers I regularly drink that is flavored with honey. Let's see, I'm not actually sure if there's any other sweeteners in here. There is cane sugar as well. It is cane sugar and honey, which is why it's both very sweet and not like sharply sweet. Also, you kind of get that in there. I enjoy it though. Plus, it's from Appalachia. It's relatively near to here. I believe the this might be one of those ones where the 4-pack it comes in even has a map of where the brewery is.
I'm failing to see what's so special about this.
Yeah, we should point out for context, root beer is kind of my specialty. Jonathan here, you're into the citrus ones.
Yes,
but,
I am.
Yeah, so you probably would pick out the citrus a little more, but for me, I love a good root beer, and this is definitely a pretty decent root beer.
I don't drink much root beer. I think the last time I had root beer would have been when you gave me a bottle of the root beer with mint stuff.
Oh yeah, the St. John's, which
St. John's
will be on this show at some point because I want to talk about that one because it's very different. But this one, a little more run of the mill.
Yeah, that one I could definitely tell. There's some differences with, but this one I think it just.
Yeah.
I mean, this might be sacrilege to some people. I think this tastes like A&W.
It's not that far off. Let me think here.
I'm more familiar with the root beer flavored candies than I am with the actual soda.
Yeah.
And this tastes like an A&W root beer hard candy.
Let me see. In terms of the soda itself, what am I thinking? This might be close. Yeah, A&W. It's closer to A&W than like a Barks or a Mug. I'm just throwing out really easy to find root beers for people.
And none of those brands I'm familiar with.
Yeah, Barks is the sharper one. Mug is a little smoother, more laid back. A&W is very middle of the road. I mean, A&W is one of those, like when you think of root beer, A&W is basically the flavor you're thinking of. This one, it's not too far off. It goes a little on the sharper side compared to most sodas you can get in a 2-liter or a can. But at the same time, the flavor itself is smooth. Like it's crisp, not sharp. Crisp is the word I was going for. It's a crisper flavor than most 2-liter root beers. Just probably from the cane sugar, because that's you don't see that much in mass-produced sodas.
You don't see honey a lot either.
No. There's actually only one other not mainstream, but like easy to find root beer that uses honey. That's Dominion. which probably wouldn't taste too much different to you as well. That one's pretty basic flavor to that, but very smooth. Also, they make it really well. If you can't be unique, just do a really good job. That tends to be their philosophy.
This definitely has a different aftertaste to many root beers I'm familiar with.
Yeah, and that's why I think I remembered it. Because this one, it stood out in my memory. I couldn't remember why, but I knew that this one had something worth talking about, and that's why I picked it up to review on the show.
It's like when you're chewing. Oh wow!
It is very carbonated, also.
Excuse me. Oh wow, that. Yeah, you're right about the smoothness. I didn't realize how much I'd consumed.
Yep. Yeah, it goes down easy.
It very. But no, the aftertaste is very plain.
Yeah.
Very almost like you're just chewing unflavored gum. That's what it kind of.
I'm getting what you're saying. It's you kind of feel it more than you taste it. It's like the aftertaste is like the early taste of drinking a seltzer before you get the weird seltzer flavor.
Yeah, the bitterness.
Yeah, it's like the pre-bitterness part of drinking a seltzer.
It's almost like water.
Yeah,
almost, not quite.
Yeah, it's trying to cleanse itself out of your mouth after you drink it. It's very weird to describe. But it's definitely unique in that regard. The flavor itself, very run-of-the-mill, but the way it presents itself to you is it's just different enough that you'll remember it. Speaking of flavor, I guess it's time I put some sort of number on this. Let's see. So I'm going to be comparing this to root beer specifically. You can compare it to just any soda because you don't have the root beer knowledge, and we'll see what sort of differences we get here. But comparing this to other root beers specifically, I'd probably rate this at around at first taste I'd say a 7, but with the aftertaste thrown in, I'd probably put this at a high 6. Rated against other root beers, and that puts it at above average. That's not a 60%, F grade soda. That is a just above, just ahead of the curve soda here. I mean, if an A&W is a 5, this is a 6.
I would have thought the aftertaste would have increased the score. Honestly,
it's a nice aftertaste, but in a root beer specifically, I actually enjoy the aftertaste. This is a totally subjective rating, I should add, by the way. This is from someone who I drink root beer because I really like root beer and I enjoy the differences in root beers. So with that, I'd call it probably a strong 6. That's a very loose rating, but in a high 6. And I still say that saying this is a very nice flavor. But it's not, the before flavor is not quite enough to make a difference. Very smooth, but that's in a different rating there. This is the flavor alone, high 6.
I'm starting to taste more the honey as the drink is warmed up in my hand.
Yeah, that is another factor we don't talk about enough, I think, is temperature of the drink. It will taste very different cold than warm. Almost every soda is like that.
Yeah.
Do you think you preferred it cold, or do you like tasting the honey a little more?
It's still cold. It's just not as cold as it was before.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure if I like or dislike the taste of honey more. I'm definitely tasting it more now that it's warmed up.
Yeah, it's very there, and yeah, because when you chill a soda, it's kind of harder to pick out all the flavoring agents, all the sweeteners in it. I mean, when it's really warm, you can really tell, but it's not quite as good when it's warm. It kind of just sticks in your mouth.
Yeah, there's a balance. It's very hard to find that balance.
Yeah, whatever temperature it's at, like right now, is probably just a few degrees warmer than what I'd call the perfect drinking temperature for this. I wish we got to get one of those fancy laser thermometers and figure this out.
I got a meat thermometer. We stick it in.
Just wait a minute, and we'll tell you.
No, but yeah, we should honestly talk more about temperature.
Temperature, sweetening agents, flavor agents. There's a lot of things that aren't for a specific soda that I would love to talk about on this show because, I mean, this is a pointless argument to anybody who doesn't drink soda, but it's one that some people who are into soda are very adamant on is, sugar, high fructose corn syrup, anything other than that, or just natural or artificial flavors. There's people who on either side of this.
Well, We did do a 2-for-1 episode a while back. We could devote one of our episodes this season to talking about that.
Very true. We can either tack it on or make it its own bonus episode.
Yeah.
But anyway, comparing this to just sodas in general that you enjoy drinking, where would you rate this?
I'm thinking.
Oh yeah, no rush, no rush.
I'll probably... Oh, God. Ah! Oh, jeez.
I feel like that's probably going to affect your drinkability score.
No, it's just I don't expect it. It packs a lot of punch.
Yep, root beers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you probably have noticed this if you've ever drank any root beer, is a good root beer has a lot of fizziness to it.
Yes.
It should pour out basically like a beer. You know, there should be a head on it.
Oh, giant.
Yep.
Your cup should be half foam.
Yeah.
We are drinking straight from the bottle this time. We had this chilled in advance.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say I'd give it a 7, 6-ish.
All right, yes, that's pretty decent. Yeah. I mean, if I was comparing this to every soda I've ever drank, I would probably go upward from where I was and probably give it a 7 as well.
High 6, low 7. Definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yes, I think I'm going to probably stick with my high 6 comparing it to just root beers because I have had root beers that I consider perfect for a root beer. Not like a perfect soda, but as far as a root beer goes, are really, really nice. Maybe as a soda, they'd be weird because, you know, they've got the heaviness that a root beer has that you don't necessarily want. But in the realm of root beer, I give this a high 6. Yeah. And it is quite enjoyable. I definitely would recommend it. What do we go to next? Now it's
your score. And
yeah.
It's your system.
Yeah, okay. I guess from that point, we're going to move on to balance and smoothness. And we probably, I think, like even you are starting to pick things out in this with the honey in there.
Yeah, as it warms up, it's really more noticeable.
Yeah, so it's and as we also said, it's very smooth. Smoothness. This is you've drank more than half the bottle already. I'm more than half the bottle in already. Normally I don't drink this fast, but it's very smooth. You can definitely pick in at least a couple layers. I'm sure because you've got the honey separately from the flavor, right? You can tell the difference. Yeah. So there's some layeredness to it, even as someone who is not, you know, like a root beer fanatic like I am. For me, I've got the initial sweetness in there. There's the flavors in there. I don't actually know what they use to flavor this. I can't quite pick out the individual flavors, but the sweetness, the flavor, and the honey are all on their own layer. What do they say they use here? Natural and artificial flavorings. I really wish they would got a little more specific than that. Whatever they did, they mixed it really well. The flavor of the actual root beer flavor is very homogenized to me. It's not so much that it's artificial, like it feels real, but it feels just very professionally mixed. There's not a lot of stray odd flavors catching me, if that makes sense. Like it doesn't feel like a bunch of things that were mixed together haphazardly. This feels like it was very just well mixed with purpose. But the honey is on its own layer, which I think was a smart choice because honey in a drink usually adds to it, I think, especially in a soda.
I haven't had many honeyed sodas, but I do enjoy putting, say, honey in tea.
Yes. Definitely improves that. So I guess if we're going off of, we're leaning a little more toward the smoothness than the balance metric on this, but I would definitely rate this highly on smoothness. I'd probably give this at least an 8 compared to other sodas.
Yeah, maybe a bit lower for me.
I've had a lot of rough sodas.
Oh, care to name and shame? Not name and shame, but more not name.
I gotta remember them. I've definitely had a lot of cane sugar sweetened sodas. A lot of them were before I really committed them all to memory. If I went through my dozen or so well-written reviews, I could probably name a few sometime. But I've definitely tasted ones where it's just cane sugar and it's pretty rough in there, and like you still want to drink it fast, but it doesn't go down quite as smooth. You're very aware of how much you're drinking. Versus these ones, if you don't catch yourself, you're gonna drink the whole bottle. Although that being said, I might lower it down to a 7, but it would be a very high 7.
Why is that?
I'm just thinking about it. I'm thinking I've probably had Actually, if I'm comparing it just to root beers, it would definitely be a solid 7, not a high 7, because I've had smoother root beers. But if I'm just comparing it to the body of sodas as a whole, I'd probably give it a high 7, maybe an 8. But root beers, even though they're heavy, they tend to be pretty smooth.
All right.
This is a very complicated review because I'm comparing it on 2 different metrics.
I think that's a fair review.
Yeah.
Fair score.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty smooth. Not the smoothest, but...
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me see. I guess that's pretty much all we have to say on the smoothness. That would bring us into drinkability, and this is going to get a little more unusual because, as you may have heard, this has caused some amount of, how would you call it, gastric, not distress, but you're very aware of the fact that you've been drinking this one.
Oh, it came up pretty unexpected. I mean,
this is something to remember if you're ever drinking either a soda or a beer or anything carbonated. Is a lot of the times a good reason to pour something out is to make sure the carbonation gets out into your cup versus your stomach. It makes a difference, especially if you're someone like me, who I've been drinking this slowly because I can't burp, as I think I've stated at least once. So I
think you've said it every episode.
Yeah, pretty much every episode I've brought up that I don't burp, so I don't chug soda unless I know it's already flat, because I will suffer for it. So that is something to consider with drinkability. Let's see. I'm also feeling this. Do you get that sticky residue in your mouth? I'm kind of feeling it.
It's been pretty clean for me.
Okay.
I mean,
could be because I'm just like holding it in my mouth for like a split second after I drink it, but it's not so much on my teeth. Sometimes cane sugar ones really stick to your teeth, but I'm feeling it in the back of my throat on this one. Top roof of my mouth, back of my throat. Might just be the honey in there. It's not bad though. It's not as crazy heavy getting into your saliva, thick and sticky as some other root beers and other sodas.
It's no cream soda.
Yeah, no. Cream soda, I think you're right, is probably the worst offender on that. Anyone can feel that.
Yep.
My dad hates cream soda. I don't think it's for that reason, but so he never has to deal with that. But let's see, for drinkability, nothing else is really bothering me about this though. So I'd probably put this, but nothing's also really good about it. This isn't an exceptionally easy to drink. It's just it goes down very easy. So I'd probably rate this one at a solid 6. You know, I've definitely had worse. Like we said, it goes down easy. You don't realize how fast you're drinking it, but you do feel it once you've drunk it. So that's why I'm not giving it higher than that. I'd say it's above average, just barely.
So like a 6.
Yeah, I'd say a solid 6.
All right.
Do you have any different rating you'd give this? Do you feel like this is a very easy drinkable soda, one that goes down maybe too easy, and then you should penalize it for that?
I mean, if anything that went down too easy, I would have said that was Satsuma Fizz.
That one, wow, that went down too easy. But that one, you also didn't come back up on you.
Yeah, I was about. This bottle is 12 fluid ounces.
Yep.
And I was about halfway down when my first belch came out. And then another quarter of the way down, 3/4 of the bottle, that was the second belch.
Yep. And you weren't drinking it particularly fast. You're just taking sips now and then.
Yeah. I mean, well, yeah, that's emblematic of most root beers, high carbonation.
Yep.
Because of the, I guess you got to have that if you want to make a good root beer float.
Absolutely. I believe one day, either this season or next season, I will have my root beer review episode where I talk about that, and I'll have a different metric. Root beer float will be a metric on how I grade my root beers, because there is one root beer above all others for root beer floats, and that is Saranac, which will be brought up at some point. So that is the ultimate tier root beer float root beer. I don't believe I've actually made a root beer float with Appalachian root beer.
Does this have the qualities of a good root beer float though?
I think it does. It's the smoothness will really complement the vanilla. You're gonna get basically like milkshake quality schlop in there. I don't know what you'd call it. You know, when the fizz and the ice cream basically start becoming one.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't know what there's probably a word for that someone else has coined already, but I feel like you'd get a really nice consistent mixture with this. Let's see, because that's with root beer floats. It's also a little subjective. Some people, I'm sure, like it more when the root beer pops out, and some people, I'm sure, like it more when the root beer just adds to the creaminess. This one, I feel, is very middle of the road. I feel like this would probably satisfy both parties. I'd call this definitely a very average root beer float root beer. I'd probably give this a solid 5 on the root beer float making score. It does not offend, but it does not seek to raise itself above the others.
I guess that leaves us to your final overall score.
Yep, my final score. Let me finish this off real quick, and then I'll think about how I want to rate this. Okay. Taking that last room temperature sip into account, I would probably rate this, even considering that I consider some parts just barely above average, and the taste at just being barely above average, I think I'm probably going to go with a low 7 on this one in terms of root beers, because even though, it goes down pretty average, comes back up sometimes, even though the flavors are balanced well, the honey in there mixed with the flavor is memorable. It's something I would recommend to somebody who likes root beer, and especially someone who enjoys honey and things. I would recommend this. So I think that's why I'm going with a 7, even though most of my scores were in the 6 range. I think I will put the final score, I will more heavily weight the flavor than anything else and give this a 7. What do you think about it?
I mean, I think it's a pretty bog standard soda, for my opinion.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not very well versed in root beers.
Yeah.
Or soda in general. Mm-hmm. But
if I was rating this as just a root beer, I'd give it either a 5 or 6. But as a soda, I give it a 7 because I personally really enjoy it.
I really enjoy the nice plain aftertaste.
Yeah, it's
like that way you could be eating something with a very specific flavor.
Absolutely.
As long as it's not sweet.
Yeah, do not. In general, root beer and sweet foods other than ice cream, not a good idea.
Yeah, the desensitization of the taste buds, you won't be able to taste either the food or the root beer depending on what's sweeter.
Oh yeah.
But, pairing this up with like a good slice of pizza. Anything
French
salty,
fries.
Savory.
Yeah.
Like just nothing sweet, obviously.
No.
This, I feel like that nice clean aftertaste wouldn't affect the flavor of the food that much.
That is a good point that I did not fully consider in my review. I'd probably still keep it at a 7 with that, but that is a very good point to bring up.
But despite that, I'm still rating it lower than you.
Oh, absolutely.
6.
Yeah, no, compared to sodas in whole, I agree with that score completely, that it would be about a 6, because this is not far and away an above average soda, just a mostly above average root beer. I think, compared to I've probably had orange sodas that I would consider better sodas than this.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but I would consider it a better root beer than that orange soda any day of the week.
I mean, has anyone ever done fruit flavored root beers?
They may have. I have never come across one. I have had a what was I gonna say? Just at Ace today, they had a candied maple bacon root beer, which I have tried. It's kind of odd. I don't know if I'd recommend it.
Well, I mean, bacon is salty by nature, so it's salty root beer.
But putting
salty pork root beer.
It's more the savory of the bacon, though.
Savor, okay.
So when you put that into a soda that's naturally sweet, the savory and the sweet, it's not awful. I've definitely had worse, but it didn't strike me as one that I wanted to drink again. Maybe on a novelty episode, but I don't think for my own enjoyment I would ever get the maple bacon root beer again. I don't even remember what brand it was. It wasn't specifically a novelty brand. It was just a weird flavor they produced.
I remember getting at a donut shop not too far from here, Duck Donuts.
Love them.
They offer bacon as a topping.
That is an excellent place to put bacon. You're talking about the maple bacon donut, right?
Yes.
Oh my god, I call that breakfast in a donut. That's one of my favorites.
I call that all 3 meals in a donut. Do you know how many calories those things have?
So many.
if you're able to eat one of those for a meal,
They're for just so you know, these are not big donuts. These are probably a good like 15%, 10 to 15% smaller than a Dunkin' Donuts donut, but they are just so rich. They're crazy. Duck Donuts. If there's a Duck Donuts near you and you're not diabetic, go there.
or
It's
if you don't hate yourself.
yeah. If you don't, if you don't yeah. I mean, don't eat more than I don't know. I can eat 3 before I start feeling sick if I'm hungry when I show up. Uh, but I don't think I could eat 3 maple bacon donuts. Those are insane.
They're so good though.
Have you tried the lemon ones?
Yes, I love the lemon ones.
Lemon's great. Have you ever? This is the real question. Have you ever had just one plain donut
No. Wait, from Duck Donuts?
from Duck Donuts? Yeah.
No, I have not.
If you ever just want to try something interesting, just get the plain donut. Because yeah, there's not a whole lot going on flavor wise, but
It's just fried dough, right?
yeah, it's just fried
Yeah.
dough. But it's like really good fried dough.
Ah.
Or if you can, maybe get the powdered sugar one, so you get a little more sweetness. I mean, the powdered sugar is going to go everywhere, but it is very nice.
That's the
That's how it is.
them's the breaks with
Yep.
powdered sugar.
Yep.
Confectioner's sugar for those more well versed in cooking terms, baking terms.
Absolutely. I don't know how we got onto Duck Donuts, but
Because the
really great.
bacon, the
Yeah,
bacon,
the
and
bacon.
the root beer.
That's it. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Bacon on a donut. It sounds opulent, and that's because it is, but it's so good.
I'd imagine putting bacon in root beer would much be the same, but I guess not.
You'd think so, but the issue is you can't really use real bacon because of it being a liquid.
What, did they use real bacon or bacon flavor?
It was just bacon flavor is the issue.
Was it like those bacon bits that aren't actually like the synthetic bacon?
No, I think it didn't taste as close to bacon, but it tasted better than those on its own when you picked out the bacon flavor. But it just doesn't. Like I'm sure if you actually like marinated a real piece of well cooked bacon in root beer and ate that like as a candied glaze, that would probably be delicious. But just bacon flavored root beer that has been made and prepackaged and bottled for you just doesn't quite have it. It's not there yet. Maybe someday we will get a really good maple bacon root beer, but today it doesn't exist.
What if we, cooked a piece of bacon, put it in a food processor, and then somehow
infused it into the root beer, just straight up mixed it in.
Yeah.
I don't know, that might be better. That at least would be more interesting.
Or maybe have like, remember when Whole Foods did the wait, was it Whole Foods? At the really pompous grocery store.
That was probably Whole Foods.
Yeah, Whole Foods had the asparagus infused water.
Yeah, that
where
was
it was
Whole
3
Foods.
stalks of asparagus inside a water bottle.
Do you remember the best part of that story though? When they were asked about it, what their statement was?
What was it?
That the asparagus wasn't even supposed to be left in there.
It
You weren't even supposed to get the asparagus. You were supposed to just get the water.
And that was
with
like
asparagus.
$6 a bottle.
Yep.
Like $6 a pint. It was the small bottles.
Oh my God.
We should make root beer just like that. Just make bog standard root beer, but we have like a strip of cooked bacon in every bottle.
Yep. Actually, now that made me think a root beer float with sprinkled crispy bacon bits on top of it. That might actually be good because then you got the extra vanilla creamy sweetness to counteract the savory saltiness of the bacon. Now I want to try that sometime. I think that'd be like the donuts, is if you put it on top of the ice cream and the root beer. That might be really good actually.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm just thinking of bacon root beer floats now. Oh.
Well, I mean,
someday.
One of these days we'll find out.
Maybe when I have some Saranac, I'll try that out because I already know a Saranac root beer float is gonna be delicious.
So, I mean, do you have anything else to say about this root beer?
I don't really. I think we've said all I have to say about it. Would I recommend it above other root beers? Only if you're interested in the honey part of it. Would I recommend it in general if you just happen to see it? Yes. I think it's actually pretty good. I can't see a reason why you'd hate this unless you just really hate honey. But I think this is a pretty good one. I don't know if it's available widely outside of the Appalachian area, because we're technically we're in or close to Appalachia. But if you do happen to find this at a grocery store, I'd say it's worth picking up. It does only come in 4-packs, I believe. I don't know, or maybe it's a 6-pack. I can't remember. Just keep that in mind if you're looking for something for a party. I don't know if one of these will be enough, but if you're looking just for a nice evening with a root beer, I think it's not a bad choice.
And speaking of honey,
Yeah.
Honey, please sponsor us. we have at least 2 regular viewers.
Yeah.
No, but besides that, I think it's time for the King of the Hill Battle Royale.
Yep. I think I told you ahead of time what I thought my verdict would be, and I'm going to stick with that verdict. Is as nice as this does not have nearly enough power to topple Swamp Pop Satsuma Fizz.
Reigning champion
For however many episodes this has been now.
God. I mean, let's go over the body count, Brian.
Yep.
It's taken down the original contender.
The Baja Blast was first knocked down by Satsuma Fizz. A late one couldn't topple Satsuma Fizz. Did Cheerwine come before or after Satsuma Fizz, actually?
After.
After, yeah.
Oh, wait, no.
Cheerwine came before.
Before, yes.
Yeah, Cheerwine came before. Cheerwine didn't even compete.
Yeah, no. Cheerwine was knocked down by Baja Blast.
Yep. Couldn't even take the high point.
Fenneman's
couldn't knock
noble
it down.
Noble try.
It was a good effort, but no. So Satsuma Fizz still the number 1 soda for season 1, and I believe that's all we've got for this episode.
I've been Jonathan.
I've been Brian.
And see you guys next week.
Goodbye.